Welcome to Bode's Calgary market report for March 2021. I'm going to show you what's happening at a macro level in Calgary in terms of supply and demand and property prices. And then I'm going to show you how you can see all the data for your own specific community or property type and price band so you can do your own analysis on the market. So let's dive right in. The first thing you need to know is that to understand what's happening in the property market, you have to look at supply and demand. So here I'm looking at City of Calgary, all residential listings. And first of all, on the left-hand side, the number of new listings that have come to market each month over the last 3 years. So you can see typically there's more listings in the spring and summer months and fewer listings in the winter months. And in the most recent month, in February 2021, new listings have been up 20% versus the average of the previous 3 years. So more listings coming to market than typical for this time of year. And then if we look at demand, which is sales are up 69% in February 2021 versus the previous 3 years. So that continues a very strong run we've seen here at the end of 2020, a very strong run of sales for the last 9 months. But this is, in terms of percentage terms, February was the best month in recent months. So sales are doing really well. Meanwhile, the number of new listings are also up, but not up as much as sales. So what that means is that overall inventory is then lower than it would typically be for this time of year. So down about 21% over the average of the previous 3 years. So there's less inventory on the market. So what that means is buyers have a little bit less choice when they're looking for new homes to buy. And sellers, on the other hand, have less competition. So that's good news for sellers. They're competing against fewer other active listings. And then if you look at both supply and demand in one metric, we look at months of supply. So that is, given the current level of inventory, how long would it take to sell through all of those listings given the current level of sales? And right now, in February 2021, months of inventory is at just 2.5 months. So that's the lowest level we've seen for a number of years. So that's good news for sellers, and means for buyers they have to move a little quicker because there's more buyers competing over fewer listings. So what does all of that mean for prices? Well, if we zoom out here and take a very long-term perspective and look back at what's happened with prices in Calgary for the last 15 years, we see there was a peak in 2014. Since then, there's been a slow decline, but in the last 9 months or so, prices have been coming back upwards. So up about 2 or 3% in the last 9 months. So heading in the right direction. But what's really important is rather than looking at the overall market like this, what matters for buyers and sellers is zooming into their specific community and their particular property type. And here at Bode, we've created a suite of tools that allow people to do just that. So we have 3 tools. One's called Market Data. This allows you to see what's on the market and what's sold at a community level. So you can see the same kind of supply and demand dynamics and the trends and prices. Then we also have a sold data tool where you can look up the sold price of any listing that's sold on the market over the last 10 years. So anything you want to look up there is totally free for you to access. And then finally, we have a comparables tool. So here's where you can enter 8 features about your home, and we will return the most similar live listings and the most similar sold listings over the last few months. So I'm very quickly going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to come over here to our website, bode.ca. You'll see in the top nav here, you've got all 3 of those tools. So market data, sold data, and comparables. I'm in the market data tool here. What I'm able to do is I'm able to choose my location. So Alberta, Calgary, I can choose the date range. So what date period do I want to look back over? Let's say 2 years. I can choose any community that I want. And any property type, so detached, attached, apartments, or vacant land. I can choose beds and baths or specific ranges of year built or a particular price range. And then I simply hit apply. And what happens is I get a number of graphs down here that I can look at. So if I want to look at the average sold price, or if I want to look at days on market or the number of sales over a time period, I simply click to generate the graph and I can see what's happening in my community over that time period. Down below, you've got a summary of the number of active listings that match the criteria above, how long they've been on the market, their average list price, the average price per square foot, and similarly for all of the recent sold listings. So here, this is over the last 2 years, the number of listings that have sold, how long they've been on the market, and the average sold price. So you can check out all of this data for yourself here on Bode.ca. You can also go and take a look at our sold data tools. And here, again, you can simply search by city and community and the time period you're interested in, hit apply, and what you get down here is a map that shows you for every listing what it was listed for, what it sold for, and more details of the property like the beds, baths, and square footage. So make sure to check all of that out at Bode.ca, and I will see you next month.